Good morning to all my fellow human beings. It's a great pleasure to be here, and I must thank Christine, who I've known for the last 3 years now, who was introduced to me by my sister Rekha Modi, who is also here. So I think this has been a great journey to understand the WIN and GCF, Global Citizen Forum, and WIN are now collaborating together to bring the change in the world. So my speech, my delivery will be basically on 2 points, but Mr. Roy said you must talk on 3 points. So I'm not going to make one more point. So we are talking of empowerment. We are talking of change, and we are talking of hope. So these are the 3 things which I think all the women or men have common in their mind. So I think let's talk of empowerment first, because that's the top thing in women's mind and also in men. As I said, I was born in a family of 11 brothers sisters, and I was the 9th of that. So I have to find a way to empower myself first, which I did. And I said, decided to think that I'm the only child, and I raised myself as the only child of my father, mother. I ignored the rest of the 10. So that was my first empowerment. So I think empowerment is something which you have to do for yourself. Nobody can help you in doing the empowerment unless you believe in yourself. And that belief comes when you understand what the world is there. So today, if you see why the woman is not empowered, the reason is basically starting for the religious book. The religion, or any religion, has defined the role of man and woman differently. And this has been there for thousands of years. And because we all are religious people from inside, we have to first change ourselves from being religious to spiritual. So this journey from religious to spiritual is the first journey. And this journey can start by understanding that God is not something outside you. It's not that you and God are two different. The God is inside you. The same energy which the God has given to all of us is inside us. When that consciousness, that energy goes out, we become dead. So first is empowering yourself and empowering feeling that we are empowered by the God. That's the first part. The second part is the constitutions. Various nations created these constitutions at the time of independence and made changes. But most of the constitutions of the world do not give equal power or equal empowerment to women. And this constitution also need to be changed. My sister is working hard in India to change this constitution by providing 50% reservation in the state assemblies. Because how you change, unless you can change the constitution, you have the voting power. Just now Mr. Roy talked of China. The China, you may not have a voting power. But in other nations, democratic nations, including US, India, most of European countries, UK, you are living in a democracy. In democracy, you are empowered because you have the voting rights. Use that voting rights to your favor. The third thing which is very much working is that women feel we need to struggle to get empowered. It's not about struggle, it's about knowledge. If you are educated, if you have higher education than your brother or your sister, if you have higher education than your mother, if you have higher education of all the people around the society, you will be empowered. As they said, I was the only person in this 11 which got the highest education. So that was my first way of empowering myself. So empowerment comes from education. Today you are not being seen as a woman. I have with me Dr. Pooja. She is a doctor. A doctor could be man or woman. You don't worry about who the doctor is when you go to the hospital. So it's the education which empowers you. So that is, we talk of empowerment. But how do we change it? the second part of my speech is about change. The major change came in 1945 when the Second World War happened. After the Second World War, the British used to rule the world at that time. And they have enslaved the world. And China was enslaved, India was enslaved. Most of the world, people were living a life of slavery. I come from India. Fortunately, I was the ninth child, but the only child who born after the independence. So I did not see the enslavement. I did not see India under power of Britain. But what happened in the Second World War, that Britain asked for the help. They were themselves defeated. And they went to US and asked for help. The US at that time was democratic. Abraham Lincoln had already changed the constitution. They have made the people who are black equal. They have also made women empowerment in the constitution. So US was an epitome of change. And this change US brought all over. And very soon after 1945, all the nations got their independence. Not because they want to give it, but because United Nations at that time created a body. And this was formed through UN. The whole UN was formed on the behest of United States of America. I think you would be aware of that. But USA did one mistake. The mistake they did was they put a vetoes. And they put the vetoes on the allied partners, which are Russia and UK, but also powers which were made independent. At that time, China was under Japan and France was under Germany. And these two powers, was defeated, Germany and Japan. And these two countries also got the vetoes. Now we are in a position, or we are seeing that two major veto powers are fighting. So what will Ukraine war end to? The Ukraine war is a war which will bring change. Ukraine war is like starting of a third world war. But don't forget how the Second World War ended. The Second World War ended when USA put an atomic bomb in Japan. That was by bringing new technology and everybody surrendered. Are we going to have another atomic bomb? Maybe. Because people have atomic bombs like crazy. The largest number of atomic bombs are with Russia. So if you try to take over Russia, you think Russia will not put an atomic bomb? So don't be in the hope that atomic bomb will not happen. But suppose atomic bomb happens, what will happen? If the atomic bomb happens, then people will see a major change will be there. And this change will again come by using the space force. The war is no longer to be on the earth. Now USA and many countries have space force. They have army on the space. And that is the new era coming of change, is a space age. All the technology today is done through space. Telecommunication, Wi-Fi you use, all the things you buy, everything is being ordered through the space. It's all in the space. So I think this major change is going to come because of technology, which is already happening, but also because this 5-nation veto will go off, I think. Because you can't just take Russia veto out. If the veto has to go, it has to go for all the nations. I've been trying in United Nations for many, many years to get the vetoes out. Because veto is not fair. Veto is not fair. United Nations is working where General Assembly has become, they can't be effective. Because they went to, for Ukraine, they went to General Assembly. 85% people voted in favor. But Russia vetoed. So the change will come when there is a change in the whole system. And the system, I think, is required to be changed right here in the United Nations. And the change we have to do in the United Nations is get rid of these vetoes, which is there. So through this podium, I'm appealing to the United Nations to change the vetoes. If they don't change, let me warn you, not warn you, but let me tell you that there will be an area where you will see atomic bomb. You will see it. Let's come to the hope. What is the hope then? If this happens, what is the hope? And that's what we were talking at the Fox News. The hope is not there with UN anymore unless they change themselves. If the vetoes are not changed, then there's no hope. The UN is hopeless. And I repeat that, UN is hopeless with the vetoes. But if they are able to change the vetoes and they have to restructure the constitution of UN, then there's a hope. If they change the constitution of the countries, there's a hope. If they change the religions, books, and go for spirituality, there's hope. And this hope can be done by women who have been the ones sufferer because of the constitution, because of the nations, and also because of religion. And I appeal from this desk to all women to think themselves as a spiritual being, not as a woman. If you start thinking as a spiritual being, in Global Citizen Forum, we said that we have to think beyond religion, beyond nationality, beyond gender. If you do that, I can tell you that as a spiritual human being, we are all together. If you say, woman, I can't be with you. I'm not a woman, but I am a spiritual being. And so are you. So let's enjoy this knowledge of being a spiritual being. And we have a doctor here who was telling me about stem cell. And stem cell, I tell you, is same of man and woman, the first cell. I took a stem cell of an 18 years old woman, not man. Thank you very much.